There are an estimated 122 people in the United States with the last name Kardashian, but only one family made it famous. When I think of words to describe the Kardashian-Jenner clan, the list is polarizing, extreme, and often contradictory. They're a family who built an empire by leveraging their reputation into riches at an estimated net worth of almost $1.5 billion. No one could have predicted that their 15 minutes would transform into an approaching 15 years of fame. And yet when you ask people how they make their money, many still don't have an answer. So just how does one get famous for being famous? Here's how the Kardashians turn views, likes, and notoriety into capital. In the 1980s, the Kardashians were already a wealthy family living in high society California. Before marrying Kris in 1978, Robert Kardashian had founded a successful trade publication called Radio and Records, or R&R, which he and his business partner sold for $12.5 million in 1979. Adjusted for inflation, his $3 million share of those earnings equates to almost $11 million in 2018. He divorced Kris in 1991 before gaining media attention and big bucks as one of 10 lawyers part of the Dream Team defending his personal friend O.J. Simpson during the 1994 trial. Only 1 month after the divorce, Kris married Caitlyn Jenner, at the time known as Bruce. According to Scott Marin of The Wealth Advisor, when Robert Sr. died in 2003, he allegedly left his children a $100 million estate to divide between them. But millions of dollars is still a far cry from the almost $1.5 billion the family's worth today. So, let's break down the estimated wealth of the 8 core members of the Kardashian-Jenner family. At a net worth of $10 million, youngest Kardashian, Robert Jr., hasn't had his father's luck in the business industry. He founded a sock line in 2012 called Arthur George and appeared on a variety of other reality TV shows like Dancing with the Stars, and his own Keeping Up with the Kardashians spin-off, Rob & China. Oldest child, Kourtney, has a net worth of $35 million, with the bulk of her money coming from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She made past capital from some now-defunct boutiques she once owned with her family, like Smooch and Dash, but for now she's content with serving as a personality and executive producer of the show. Khloe tops up her $40 million net worth with a handful of shows outside of Keeping Up, like Cocktails with Khloe and Revenge Body, as well as other ventures like fragrances and a clothing line called Good American. Kris, the matriarch, is hailed as a shrewd businesswoman, managing the careers of her children and solidifying why she's the ultimate momager, with her $60 million net worth. Other than being an executive producer of the show, she gets 10% of each child's income, giving her the incentive to steer their lives into the most lucrative careers they can be. We jump to $350 million net worth with Kim. She's credited with introducing the Kardashians to the world after the leak of a salacious tape that launched 1,000 careers. Aside from the show, her wealth comes from her KKW beauty line, perfumes, and even a surprise hit game app called Kim Kardashian Hollywood. Kardashians in every way except name, the most visible Jenner members of the blended family earned income in similar ways. Caitlyn Jenner was a gold medalist who had earned money by capitalizing on past Olympic fame. Now, the $100 million she's worth comes from the show, a memoir, and her spin-off, I Am Kate. Kendall Jenner is at a net worth of $18 million, owed to her modeling career. In 2017, she toppled Gisele Bündchen from Forbes' world's highest paid models list after earning $22 million. Kylie made headlines this year when Forbes positioned her as the next youngest self-made female billionaire in history, with a net worth of $900 million. The bulk of which is due to her Kylie Cosmetics makeup company. But with the exception of Kylie and Kim, to attribute their collective $1.5 billion riches to personal appearances and side business ventures is disingenuous. The bulk of their wealth comes from the success of their 11-year-old show, but that's still not an exact answer to how they generate their full estate. So how do they do it? A great deal of their money comes from endorsements. They capitalize on their visibility by turning their own audience into their advertisers' audience.
Their values range anywhere from, on the low end, about $75,000 for a single post across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all the way up to about $300,000.
That's Frank Spadafora, who runs an insights and analytics company called DeMarie Archive that businesses use to decide which social media influencers should promote their brands. At the time of this video, the Kardashians and Jenners have over 680 million followers combined on Instagram and Twitter, tuning into their lives and being bombarded with this kind of content.
Sugar Bear hair is one of my favorite hair care secrets, and they are pretty delicious.
From waist trainers to tea to psoriasis treatments, businesses pay the Kardashians to propagate the use of their brands and products on their social media platforms and on the show. They're paid to swear by the products and present their endorsements as naturally as possible.
And it's all curated to look as if we're, catching them in a spontaneous moment, when in fact, it's an advertisement, right?
Professor of Health Law at University of Alberta, Timothy Caulfield, says that only until the past couple of years have the Kardashians followed through on tagging every post they were paid for with #ad. With the money they generate, they have access to plastic surgeons and personal trainers, so it's hard to believe that the bodies they own are, in majority, the results of some gimmicky product like a girdle or tea. Any product or brand that is conspicuously visible in a photo or video is most likely a paid endorsement. In one episode of the show, there was the presence of 9 advertisements alone. Okay, so we know how and what they sell, but what do they truly sell?
You're selling us an ideal, a body shape, a problem with our wrinkles, a problem with aging, a problem with gravity, a problem with any kind of body fat. You're selling us self-consciousness. The same poison that made you clearly develop some sort of body dysmorphia or facial dysmorphia, you are now pouring back into the world. You're like recycling hatred.
In an interview with Channel 4, actress and advocate Jamila Jamil had strong words for the Kardashians' dishonest lifestyle that she says reinforces a detrimental mindset for the fans who follow them, calling them double agents for the patriarchy.
The double agent for the patriarchy is basically just a woman who perhaps unknowingly is still putting the patriarchal narrative out into the world, is still benefiting off, profiting off, and selling a patriarchal narrative to other women.
Many fans follow because the Kardashians lead a fantasy life, but strive to come off as relatable, their lifestyle as attainable, in order to sell to the average consumer.
The money is built on the blood and tears of young women who believe in them, who follow them, who look up to them like the big sister they never had. It's so upsetting. It feels like such a betrayal against women.
The dominant ideology that has run a thread through the past century, the one that pressures women to value physical attractiveness as top priority, is the ideology that the Kardashians have fallen victim to, and the same one they push to earn their millions of dollars. But it's evident from Kris Jenner's 2017 interview with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that she would like you to believe otherwise.
I think that they give other women confidence and the ability to feel really great about who they are. There's a lot of power and self-esteem that comes with, and strength that comes with being comfortable in your own skin.
Yet Kylie, who claims to advocate against the body shaming she struggled to overcome since 9 years old, contradicts herself by perpetuating this very attitude in the messages of her ads. Actions speak louder than words.
But does that send a message to young women that, their looks are the most important parts of who they are?
I don't think so. I think that everybody has their own beauty at different ages. So I think that if something that you want to do makes you feel better about yourself, then why not? I think everybody has to make their own choice.
It's a safe, broad, perhaps insidious answer that many people would be hard-pressed to disagree with. But again, actions versus words. Kim may be credited with launching the Kardashians into the spotlight, but Kris Jenner is credited with keeping the light on. After Kim's tape leaked in 2007, Kris parlayed the attention, pitched Keeping Up with the Kardashians to Ryan Seacrest, and in one season, the 900,000-strong audience that tuned into the show's premiere doubled into 1.8 million by the end of its season finale. She turned what should have been a flash-in-the-pan sleaze story into a billion-dollar domain. You can look at what Kris Jenner does as orchestration and exploitation of her family drama for profit. You can also look at what she does as taking a low point for her family and engineering the trajectory into an impressive empire. Or you can realize that those things aren't mutually exclusive. The Kardashians try to make all the right moves in their careers to sustain relevancy and increase affluence, but after growing up in wealth, this is the only lifestyle they've ever known. When doing research, I came across this home video of Kim at only 13 years old. Lively and talkative, her big personality shining through. It's interesting to watch now, knowing it was a prophecy.
Okay, My name's Kim Kardashian. I'm the dopest and the ropest person in this class. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm more popular than she is. You can see me when I'm famous and older and remember me.
Can we place the entire blame on these women for being a product of their environment and trying to succeed the only way they know how? After all, the Kardashians aren't the first nor last celebrities to get paid for endorsing beauty products. So perhaps we can't, but that doesn't absolve them of responsibility as influencers of an especially impressionable audience. It doesn't change the fact that they've won the fame game, but it's the same game, and they haven't changed the rules for the better. It's arguable that there's an obligation of society, of us, to not feed into a system that eats itself. It's easy to say, just don't watch, don't buy, don't follow. But when I look at the money involved to keep self-esteem low, to move product off the shelves, to defend a billion-dollar fort built on a long-standing system that preys on insecurity, it gets harder to place responsibility on a 16-year-old girl following trendsetters on Instagram. If you've been keeping up with the Kardashians, looking closely at their dynasty of a decade, I challenge you. Look closer.